Hello everybody, let's talk about Madame Fate. After the events at Ravenhurst, you get a call from Madame Fate, who asks you to investigate an unusual crime. That crime being her murder, which hasn't happened yet. You see, Madame Fate can look into the future, and has discovered that she is going to be killed at midnight. It is your job to investigate the employees at her carnival to uncover enough clues for Madame Fate to use her crystal ball to see where they will be at midnight. So once again, let's talk about the positives of this game. First of all, we have the time limit. Just like with Ravenhurst, there are two different modes for this game. There's the regular mode, which I've never played with, and there's the more relaxed mode, which gives you more time and allows you to enjoy the game and the scenery a lot more. Also, like the previous game, the ambiance in this game really puts you in the environment. Whereas the first game puts you into a haunted house, this game puts you right smack dab in the middle of a carnival. So a lot of the scenes, you hear the rides going and you hear the people attending the carnival as you're walking around investigating all of these people. And on top of the ambiance, the music also does a very good job of putting you in this carnival setting. The puzzles also continue in this game. There's some word puzzles that I'll touch more on later in this video, but the puzzles that are similar to the ones from the previous game come in at the end of each round. After you collect all of the clues, Madame Fate looks into her crystal ball and you solve a puzzle to discover where this particular employee is going to be at midnight. One of the things that I do appreciate about the puzzles is that each of them is tailor-made to fit with the suspect. So, for example, the one for the acrobat involves trying to keep someone balanced on a tightrope. I think that's a nice touch that just gives each puzzle a more unique feel. The characters in this game are all pretty distinct. We also get to see most of them up close and personal. One of the things this game does differently is that some of the scenes that you go into to find clues are the characters themselves. So you go into the room and they're just kind of there. They don't do anything because they're just kind of part of the scenery, but it's a nice little change. The character we interact with the most is, of course, Madame Fate. And I appreciate that the game makes her terrible. I mean, she's not a nice person, and you can understand why everyone in the carnival has motive for wanting her dead, because she's just kind of awful. Finally, they removed the wait time on objects. You can click on as many objects as you can find, and you don't have to wait for one to disappear to click on the next one. Not only that, but they reward you for finding things quickly. If you find 3 objects in a row, more time gets added to the overall time that you have to finish the level. This is a nice change, especially considering the pre-mentioned character scenes. This explanation gets a little complicated, but just bear with me here. In each of these scenes, there are only things that count toward 2 of the overall objects that you need to collect. Sorry, my camera tilted there for a little bit. However, each object that counts for the overall count consists of multiple objects. For example, in the scene with the Daredevil, the 2 objects that you may need to find are, let's say, 15 rockets and 15 balloons. These multiple items only equaling 1 toward the count is usually annoying. However, with this game, each individual, let's say rocket or balloon, just to continue that example, counts as only 1 item toward the time limit. So finding 3 of the 15 rockets gets you a time boost, meaning that if there are 30 objects, you get a grand total of 10 time boosts, or you can get a grand total of 10 time boosts in that single room. I hope that made sense. I'm sorry if it didn't. I did my best to explain it. But for a good example of why this is helpful, the last round is just character pages. So, even though I technically had less objects to find based on just the count, I ended up racking up 100 minutes overall by the end of it. On the topic of the character pages, however, does come a negative. Before you can visit the character pages, you have to solve a word puzzle. There are 3 different puzzles. There's a hangman type puzzle, a 3x3 grid where you have a letter in each spot and you have to form 6 words, so 3 vertically and 3 horizontally, and then you have a puzzle wherein there are 2 words that form a cross that are opposites, and the letter in the middle is the same for both. Now, this would be fine, except you need to solve this puzzle every time that character shows up. So, for example, the first scene, the first character that you investigate, is Amazing Larry, the magician. So, you solve his puzzle in that very first round, and you unlock his scene, and every time that scene comes back, which is fairly often, you have to solve another word puzzle. This got really annoying and monotonous to me after a while. I've unlocked this scene already, and I feel like I shouldn't have to unlock it every single time. And finally, although, just like with Ravenhurst, I do consider this a good game, and it does make marked improvements, the gameplay is pretty much still the same. You go in, you find objects, you solve a puzzle, and you leave. So ultimately it's hard to fully articulate why I would put this game at the same rating as Ravenhurst. There are things that this game does better, and while I was writing the script, I couldn't help but think that I was spending a lot more time on positives than I did on negatives, which is not something that has actually been the case, as far as I know. I also could be wildly misremembering. Anything is possible. But, at the end of the day, which is an expression that I've been using a lot, I've noticed, I just can't really bring myself to say that this game is necessarily better than Ravenhurst. It's just kind of a gut feeling that I'm going with and I'm going to stick with. It is definitely just as good, however, so it also gets a 6 out of 10. So, with all of that being said, that's it. That's the end of the month. Hopefully I'll continue doing this, but I'm not going to make that promise at the moment. I am planning on putting together my final thoughts on VEDS, and they will be up tomorrow, so I will still see all of you then.